Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sideline Banter. I am Sam Holt, of course, joined by amazing co-host Derek Tate. They're very excited that Sideline Banter is a part of Women of Fantasy Football. And Tate, I'm already tripping over my words because it is week 1 and we finally have football back. And I think I'm just too excited to hold it in anymore.
You may be tripping over your words because maybe you were surprised the intro video played this week, but we're back in mid-season form for week 1.
Honestly, shocked that the video worked. I think that's why I was like, oh no, I don't have to just deadpan stare at the air.
It's like when you're playing a video game and you hit an achievement for number 1, play the intro video. Got it. Let's go.
Check. The bar is so low. But let's go ahead and just talk about week 1. We've got so many things to cover. Guys, if you have any questions about your roster heading into week 1, who you should start, or going back and forth on flex, please throw them in the chat. Tate and I will make sure to get to them. But we're going to be previewing Thursday Night Football, Friday Night Football, talking a little bit about waivers, and mostly just different things that we're excited about to see week 1. It's like Christmas morning this week, and we get to unwrap our presents in that we see our fantasy teams for actually what they are. And, you know, that lovely week 1 panic.
Well, the week 1 panic, maybe with some of the unofficial depth charts coming out and some folks that you may have spent a 4th or 5th round pick on showing up as running back 2 or running back 3. Don't panic yet. We'll get there. We promise.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like we can't totally kick off without talking a little bit about the news that went around end of last week. We already covered that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged. This is not that news. This is Micah Parsons going to the Packers. So much shock there. We're obviously going to be covering the Cowboys in Thursday Night Football. So I want to talk about the Packers first. Tate, looking at this team now going into the rest of this season, it's no surprise that there's a lot of favorites for Packers going to the Super Bowl.
That's the natural reaction.
Yeah.
Green Bay Packers, two seasons ago, they pushed the San Francisco 49ers to the brink in the NFC divisional round. Yes, last year they got walloped and Jordan Love looked terrible in the wild card loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, who went on to win the Super Bowl. But they still made the playoffs. And even though Jordan Love was in and out of the lineup dealing with injuries for the majority of the season, they still made the playoffs in a loaded NFC North. Look, they ranked 16th last year in pressure rate. 16th at 22.1. Guess who ranked first?
Who?
The Dallas Cowboys at 30.1. Why do you think that is, Sam?
Is it who is Micah Parsons?
That is correct.
Okay.
And
yes.
We didn't do a daily double, but anyway,
double it.
When we're talking about Micah Parsons, look, it's like when the Green Ranger from Power Rangers joined the Rangers after he fought them for 4 episodes. I remember it as a kid pretty vividly. It was upsetting, but then when he joined, I was hyped because then they were unstoppable. The Green Bay Packers now, that's kind of the missing piece. Now, I still have some questions at corner, but outside of that, Sam, this roster got exponentially better. Their ceiling got that much higher to where I could see them coming out of the NFC and possibly making a push towards the Super Bowl. That's how much of an impact Micah Parsons can have for an already solid defensive unit last year. They could enter elite territory as long as the cornerback position doesn't miss Jair Alexander too much.
Well, I also think what this does is that it makes a lot of trade fodder for later in the season. So it's not like the Packers are set. There's plenty of moves they can make in season depending on how things go. So if it ends up being a real bugaboo for them at that position, I can imagine them going out and saying, you know what, we're having an amazing season. We've got this one hole that we need to fill. I wouldn't be shocked if they would go and make an ad, make a trade, just in order to continue to plug up holes in what is now a very sturdy ship going forward to head into this season.
Yeah, they've already got one of the youngest rosters in the league, and they have a lot of young talent at some very important positions. You add a guy like Micah Parsons, who arguably is entering his prime. I mean, 12 plus sacks every single year he's been in the NFL for all 4 seasons. They know what they're getting. Hopefully that back injury is okay. I heard something about an epidural possibly, but
he'll be fine.
Let's assume that Micah Parsons is going to play the majority of the year. We'll see if he's on like a snap count, pitch count, whatever you want to call it for week number 1. But I expect him to be on the field early, often, and always throughout 2025.
Definitely. All right, let's go ahead and talk a couple waiver players that we're excited about. I know you had a few that you wanted to mention. There's a lot of names floating around there, like Ollie Gordon, Harold Fannin for the tight end for the Browns, Xavier Legette. Again, there's a lot of moving pieces there for the Panthers. So it's kind of an offense, in my opinion, I'd love to have parts of. I did end up drafting several shares of Xavier Legette wherever I could. I do have a lot of shares of Tater McMillan as well. So who are some top names that you're thinking of for those that maybe need to round out their roster right now?
Speaking of the Panthers, with Jalen Coker going to IR, and I did shed a tear. That hurts my soul. But see you in October. Get healthy fast there, Jalen. Jatavion Sanders is a tight end that I think has a nice pass catching profile. And with Legette not being a high target earner and McMillan entering his, first month of his pro career, I could see maybe Jatavion Sanders potentially getting a little bit more run, a few more looks per game, because Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle aren't really, profound perennial pass catchers out of the backfield. So keep an eye on JT Sanders. He's one player. In Yahoo leagues, there are, kind of four situations I'll mention real quickly. Keenan Allen should not be available in over half of Yahoo leagues. Yeah. He has an established chemistry with Justin Herbert. The fact that he's available in 51% of Yahoo leagues just is bonkers to me. Speaking of another veteran receiver with his old team, Amari Cooper, he's available in 85% of leagues. Look, if Jacoby Myers misses any time or he does in fact get traded, what else is on this roster at wide receiver? Dante Thornton, Jack Besh, Trey Tucker? Come on. He's worth a look in 85% of your leagues if you have a needed receiver. The Browns running back situation, look, Quinshon Judkins, even if he signs, whenever he signs, he's probably not going to be a full go for a while. So Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford are available in over 50% of leagues. And then the rookies that I really want to stash away, Sam, we've already kind of mentioned them. Yeah. Jaden Blue for the Dallas Cowboys and Ollie Gordon for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, Gordon definitely is top of my list. He's top of a lot of lists right now, 24% rostered across multiple platforms as well. So lots of good things said. Plus, I'm someone that has a lot of Devon Achane. So for myself, if you don't already have the handcuff, great handcuff to grab.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we saw 2 seasons ago, Raheem Mostert had a very productive standalone role in this Miami offense. So yes, we expect Achane to see the majority of the snaps and touches, particularly in the passing game. And I don't know how much confidence I have in the offensive line and really in Miami as a whole. But if things do fall right and Tua can stay healthy, I do see a path for Gordon having a consistent role in this offense in 2025.
Absolutely. I mean, the running game is always going to be leaned on in this offense. So I do feel like, if anything happens to Achane, again, Gordon is someone you need to have rostered. Mm-hmm. If he's out there and available in your league, go grab him. Definitely worth it. Wanted to throw a couple people in the chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Andrea's joining us. We've got Caesar. We've got Joseph just saying hi, but saying hi to you specifically, Tate. Love it.
Hello, Joseph.
This one from Cap for Life, ladies and gentlemen. Would you trade Ollie Gordon and my Evan Ingram for Jalen Warren? I have Tyler Warren. So we got a trade question here.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. What are your thoughts on the Pittsburgh backfield? I know this is your squad, so I kind of want you to take the lead on this question particularly, because that contract extension, Sam, for Jalen Warren is kind of interesting.
It is interesting. It definitely makes you feel like this is going to be a 1-2 punch in terms of how these running backs are used together. Just, you got to follow where the money goes. So reading this trade, would you trade my Ollie Gordon and my Evan Ingram for Jalen Warren? I have Tyler Warren. I think because you already have Tyler, it makes me feel a little bit more like it makes sense to do this kind of a trade. Again, just because I do feel like you're going to have a lot of volume there with Warren. Curious who your other backs are, though. If you, like I said, if you have Achane, I would not move on from Ollie Gordon just yet because you really want to keep that handcuff together. But yeah, it just depends on your other running backs. I'm not mad at the trade. It's definitely a thing.
I definitely wouldn't want to give up 2 players for Jalen.
No, you never really want to do 2.
Yeah, and Ingram, I do think, has top 5 upside as the tight end of a Denver offense that really needed some production from there. So I kind of think that they have similar ADPs between Warren and Ingram. I personally, since you have the depth with Tyler Warren, then I'd be a little bit more willing to make the trade, but I don't want to give up Gordon too.
Yeah. So they also have Barkley and Bucky, and they'll be picking up Shipley.
Make sure you pick up Shipley. Your season depends on it. No, no. In all seriousness, though, I would be fine rolling into the season with Barkley and Bucky. Warren is sure a nice depth option, but
yeah,
I would rather have the tight ends and see if Warren hits. Then maybe you can explore a trade because I do like both Ingram and Tyler Warren in 2025.
Sure, I like that. Again, I feel like we're all very urging to continue to make pickups, continue to make trades. But if you guys have more questions, please throw them in the chat. We'll go ahead and get to them as soon as we see them. I don't know about you, but I've got so many rosters that I need to double check tonight, just in terms of making sure that I'm not missing out on any waiver pickups. But I'm a little bit hesitant. I'm not really a week one trader typically. It just depends on my roster setup. In Dynasty, sometimes I'll just sell the farm early and just let it burn. But I mean, for everything else, I like to hold on to what I just got. I'm too excited.
The only situation where I really explored is one, if somebody just sends me an offer I can't refuse, or two, like say you were expecting Rashee Rice to play the first month of the season and you drafted Chris Godwin because of it. So you could kind of play Rice, then Rice gets suspended, Chris Godwin comes back, and now you find yourself, Rice is out for the first 6 weeks and Godwin's on IR. Maybe you're a little bit more desperate. That's the only scenario where I could see myself trying to aggressively make a move before week 1.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. All right, this one from Caesar. Trade Chuba for Tyler Warren in Dynasty, non-tight end premium.
Oh my God, yes. Yes, cash out on Chuba for a tight end prospect that I believe could be a fantasy difference maker for the foreseeable future.
It's an interesting trade. Wouldn't be mad about it. And then this one from Cap for Life. Thoughts on JSN and Worthy going into this season?
JSN, I think, is going to be fine. I'm not scared of Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Sam Darnold is probably being dismissed with his season in 2024 a bit too much. I think he proved that he can play at a high level when he's in the right situation. We'll see if the offensive line gets better, but Jason's volume should be fine. Xavier Worthy is one I'm super excited about for the first month of the season while Rashee Rice is on the shelf. We saw over the last 3 games of the season, 9 targets, 11 targets, 11 targets to finish out the regular season of his rookie year. And that volume bump plus his big play upside, I do think this offense is going to be a little bit more vertical in 2025. I like Worthy. I still have JSN a little bit higher because of the Rashee Rice factor coming back over the back half of the season. But like both players, is nice, wide receiver 2s that have low end wide receiver 1 upside.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, especially on JSN. And then for Worthy, I mean, depending on your league and, if it's one of those home leagues where you're not playing with a bunch of analysts like Tate and I do, you could end up using someone like Worthy as great trade bait in terms of capping out in terms of his high production. Again, with Rice being out, I do feel like he still eats pretty healthily, even with Rice back. Of course, it's going to come back in targets. I still think he's going to, be worth starting, but you're going to have a certain payout there. So I just feel like he could end up being interesting trade bait depending on your league. This one from Cap for Life as well. Juwan Jennings or Josh Downs. Juwan Jennings hasn't gotten paid yet, has he?
No, he has not gotten paid yet. And both players have been dealing with injuries this preseason. So it makes them both a little bit difficult to kind of gauge. If both were healthy, I would say Juwan Jennings, just because I trust his quarterback a lot more and I trust that Shanahan scheme exponentially more. Yet, if Jennings isn't available and it does look like Downs is going to be available for week 1, I would say Downs if he's healthy and in the lineup and Jennings misses any time.
I think for me, I like Downs a tiny bit more as well, just because when it comes to talent to compete for targets, you're competing with Kittle and CMC there. And I just feel like they're going to end up eating such a hefty volume. You're going to end up looking for a big play out of Jennings, whereas I feel like you could get more consistent targets for Downs early this season.
I what we saw last year, and it was a weird year for the 49ers, but Juwan Jennings was used as a third down chain mover in the middle to the intermediate portion of the football field. So if he's healthy, I would feel confident, but that contract plus the calf injury, I'll go with Downs.
Yeah. All right. This one before we jump into Thursday Night Football, Juwan Jennings or Evan Ingram. So we're doing a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, I will go Evan Ingram here. No injury risk right at this time, no contract risk for Evan Ingram at this time. And we've seen tight ends in the past be very productive in a Sean Payton scheme. So I'll go Evan Ingram.
I like that. Yeah, the Sean Payton is what kind of tilts it for me as well. I'm really excited to see what he does in this offense. Again, more unpacking of our Christmas presents. What are these players going to look like in these offenses? Ingram there with the Broncos is going to be interesting as well. Let's talk about Thursday Night Football. We kind of teed it up a little bit talking about the Parsons trade. Now we got to talk about how these players are going to eat and survive going into Thursday Night Football. You got to guess that this time last week, they were all feeling a little bit different than they are right now going into this game. I'm sure the Eagles are pretty excited though.
Yeah. And you have your normal cast of characters, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Saquon Barkley. You're starting them. One player that I kind of like in a prop play.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts to score a rushing touchdown, strictly because
there's no Micah Parsons.
No Micah Parsons, 1. 2, the NFL tried to outlaw the tush push this offseason. At least some of the NFL did. They failed. Doesn't that feel like Nick Sirianni is petty enough to go ahead and when he gets even to the 2-yard line, hey, we're going to run the tush push to get in just to kind of stick it to everybody that tried to basically ban this play from our playbook.
1,000%. I love that play. Oh my God. Like, I mean, I will take Sirianni being petty for 100, for 1,000, Alex, please. Like, just absolutely. No, I love that. There's a lot of, I kind of want to just like make a whole list of parlay plays on pettiness going into this weekend. Cause there's a lot of divisional matchups that are very tough. And so I could see some fun things happening.
A new segment, Petty Parlays of the Week.
Petty Parlay of the Week. Hey, I'm not mad about it. That's going right to the top. Petty Parlay of the Week is Jalen Hurts with the tush push touchdown just to stick it to the rest of the NFL and especially the Cowboys, given that they don't have Parsons to defend it.
So, and then when you're flipping over to the Cowboys without Micah Parsons, I believe this Dallas defense is not going to have many answers for what Philly wants to do offensively, which probably leads to a negative game script throughout the majority of this for Dallas, which is why right now on parlay plays, which we'll get into that a little bit later, but there is a line of 36.5 passing attempts for Dak Prescott. I'm taking the over on that because I believe they are willing to put the ball in Dak's hands. I don't know how effective Javonte Williams is going to be in the running game. I know that they added some talent up front with Tyler Booker this offseason for the Cowboys, but against that Philly front and that Philly defense as a whole, I don't like it. So over on the passing attempts and even Jake Ferguson, look, when Dak Prescott and him were together in 2023 and Dak was throwing the ball over the yard against Philadelphia, Ferguson saw more than, I think, 8 targets in both games. Yeah. So Jake Ferguson over 5.5 targets and Dak Prescott over in his pass attempts.
Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, again, we're talking about week 1 starts. If you drafted any of the names you already mentioned, Saquon, Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, you're starting all of them. I think players like George Pickens are a little bit more divisive in terms of how you're starting them. This is definitely a matchup that I would start him again because Parsons being out. I do feel like this is going to be a high volume game. And like what you just said in terms of taking the over on Prescott for the passing, 100% love that. In order to do that, he's going to need someone like Pickens. It's going to be able to, quickly get downfield and get available and open.
Yeah, we'll see the efficiency against like Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and some of the other young talent on that Eagles secondary, but the volume should be there. And I still think Pickens is going to be probably the second highest target earner behind CeeDee Lamb in week 1.
Definitely. Is there also a parlay on how soon a fight breaks out?
Ooh, no, I didn't see anything.
in terms of petty parlays of the week, that would be a good one. This would definitely be a game where I'd take the over on the upside of there being a fight. All right, but who's going to take the win this week in Thursday Night Football?
Oh, Eagles.
Okay, I had to ask. You gotta ask. You gotta check the box. Eagles, not by 1,000, but by a margin that I think is going to make us excited that football is back. I feel like this is going to be, it's not going to be a low-scoring game. This is going to be what makes people hyped going into the weekend.
I think it's a 2-score game. I think the Eagles win by 10.
I like that. All right, let's jump into Friday Night Football because week 1 is starting off with a bang, and we've got Friday Night Football as well. I forgot and remembered, and I got really excited. But yeah, so we've got Chiefs technically at Chargers in Brazil. Lots of fun things to look at in this offense as well. Like you mentioned, we're already missing Rashee Rice there for the Chiefs, so really excited about Xavier Worthy going into this matchup. But I want to talk a little bit about Travis Kelce. He does really well in primetime games, and this is a big stage. This is week 1. He's not someone that, topped the top 3 tier for tight ends, but we talked a little bit about him last week in our tight end look in on the Smash or Pass. If you're someone that waited on tight end and grabbed Travis Kelce, I think you should be really excited about starting him this week.
You're going to start him because this is a great spot. Kelce kind of coming off of an embarrassing Super Bowl where I actually thought he played well below his normal standard, and coming off of a year where, again, for a third straight year, his numbers kind of dipped a little bit, starting to look like a 35-year-old tight end. I think that this is potentially a reminder type of game where Kelce they make it a point to get him the football, a point to prove that he can still do it at the highest level. And like you said, having it on the national stage, everybody always pays attention to the Chiefs. And even maybe like a late engagement gift from Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce.
I like that. I wouldn't be mad at taking the over on Travis's touchdowns for that exact reason, because these guys are best friends. The way that they play speaks volumes of it as well. And I just think that, Chiefs in primetime, you can't get mad at in terms of going over in terms of points. So lots of excitement there. Guys, again, if you have more questions in the chat on who you're starting this week, make sure you're setting your lineups early because we do have these 2 early primetime games. I really want to talk about the Chargers, though, because Omarion Hampton is someone that I have been targeting a lot of drafts, been sniped and didn't grab, but I have a couple shares. I have a couple precious shares of Omarion Hampton, and I am very excited to see what he looks like. So please tell me I can go into this matchup even more excited because he's going to do well against this defense. Just, if not, lie to me so that I feel excited.
I can lie to you about it. Sure. He's going to have a breakout game with 100+ yards and 2 rushing scores. Oh, wait, the Kansas City Chiefs don't give up 100-yard rushers. So
don't panic after week 1 is the takeaway early. Are we just predicting that we're going to have a week 1 panic about him?
No week 1 panic. No, I don't believe that. Hampton, their identity is still running the football. I still think he's going to see plenty of work in week number 1. I think he'll flash some of that ability that gets us so excited. It's just, are the Chargers going to fall behind against Kansas City? Is that defense going to have an encore performance where they were the league's top scoring defense last year and they were outstanding? But do we really believe that they are going to repeat that level of production? I have some questions about that. And certainly I do think that Kansas City wants to make a statement after getting embarrassed on the Super Bowl stage. So I kind of wonder if the negative game script is something that could affect Hampton in week 1.
I could see that, but someone it's not going to affect would have to be Ladd McConkey.
Oh yeah. I mean, Ladd's going to do his thing, and Keenan Allen, again, I'm going to pound the table here that I get it. He's old, and in fantasy circles, he's probably boring. He's coming off of a bad year and he's over the age of 30, which means he's a relic and everybody's writing him off. Guess what? Keenan Allen can still really play, and he's already proved that he can produce at a high level with Justin Herbert. So I like Ladd and Keenan Allen in this game.
All right. So who's going to take the win? It feels like you're leaning Chiefs, and I'm kind of leaning Chiefs to take the win in this one as well.
Yeah, I'm leaning Kansas City. I don't see them losing to start the year after how last season ended.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I would love a little surprise if they did, but I feel like it's going to be the Chiefs as well. So we're both picking Eagles and Chiefs going into Thursday and Friday Night Football. And of course, I didn't want to walk away from this week. I think it'd be really fun if we're consistent and giving some biased takes about our teams going into each week. So I wanted to kick it off with that. Obviously, if you guys don't know, or you're not already aware, I'm a Steelers fan. You know, it is what it is. We're trying to be positive going into this season, but I am excited that we're taking on the Jets. It's going to be a really interesting matchup. Not excited that it's going to be at MetLife Stadium where, people leave ankles and kneecaps and Achilles tendons. So not really excited about this field, but I am excited to see, again, what our offense is going to look like. I really do want to see multiple 2 tight end sets. Really excited to see the back and forth between our 2 running backs.
Right.
And also, I just want to see one deep pass to DK Metcalf. That's all I want. Like, I have a very small shopping list of what I want to see out of my team. 1 being a win, but 2, I just want to check a couple boxes of like, how do these little pieces fit together? Because I have no idea how it's going to shake out based on this offseason.
I'm worried about Metcalf and which corner he's playing in week number 1. It makes me a little bit nervous, and I don't know if we get, Calvin Austin or Roman Wilson or another pass catcher emerging. But Aaron Glenn, I think, has some nice defensive pieces, but I do think that they have the advantage at quarterback. I'm really fascinated to see what the touch count is going to look like out of this Jets backfield. There's been whispers about Breece Hall being maybe traded, Braylon Allen splitting basically the starters reps throughout the preseason with Breece Hall. So yeah, in this game, I see it being low scoring, Sam. I'm sorry. I don't think you're going to see a big air show for DK Metcalf in his Steelers debut. I think it's going to be a low scoring, defensive oriented contest. And I do think that the Jets are going to try to run the football a lot in 2025. So
they're going to try and tire out our defense. That is for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm going with Braylon Allen over 28.5 rushing yards. I think that's very reasonable given I see a path where in a low scoring game, maybe he sees over 10 carries, and I think he's going to average over 2 yards per carry. So I like that parlay, but everything else, I'm kind of thinking about taking the unders.
I see that. I do like that a lot. Again, I do think that this is a matchup where the Jets try and tire our defense early, and often, because that is going to be one of our strongest points going into this season is our defense. I would also not be shocked if our points were divisible by 3 and my MVP, Chris Boswell, just saved it for us like he did last year. So I feel like I'm a very pessimistic fan.
6 field goals in week 1 type of Chris Boswell performance.
Take the over.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea, actually. That's the best player prop of the week is the Steelers kicker.
Yeah, taking the over on Chris Boswell. That's my parlay play of the week. All right. Before we go into the next one, which would be your Bucs. I got a new mouse. Here we go. I want to get this one from Kyle up here. He says, I have Josh Allen. Do I double flex Shakir and Coleman, or should I start Jacoby Myers or Ollie Gordon? Ooh, great question.
I don't mind the stack given that your other options aren't very exciting. And in particular, Jacoby Myers, as far as I know, unless there's been a report that's dropped very, very, very recently, he's still seeking a trade or likely a new deal. So I'm actually removing him from the equation altogether. And I'm going to go probably with Shakir if he is a go for week number 1. I kind of worry about Coleman's ability to be able to separate, whether it's against Nate Wiggins or Jair Alexander or Marlon Humphrey. All of a sudden, this Ravens defense has talent everywhere. Yeah. So if you're looking for a home run shot, sure, go with Coleman and stack him with Allen. If you're looking to make sure that you get somewhere around 8 to 12 PPR points, then I'll probably go with Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is going to be an interesting matchup because I mean, Ravens Bills for Sunday Night Football is a hell of a Sunday Night Football matchup. My big question about Josh Allen and the Bills going into the season is, are they going to learn from their mistakes of last year? And what I mean by that is, does Josh Allen have to carry this team, or can he lean on those that were just mentioned in this flex question with Shakir and Coleman to get the job done? I feel like in order for the Bills to make the next step, they've got to move on from leaning on Josh to do absolutely everything. So I feel like this could be an interesting matchup if they fall behind at all for Josh to air it out.
Yeah, and that's what kind of makes me a little bit nervous because James Cook, who, wasn't with the team for a good chunk of the offseason, or at least wasn't practicing while he was holding out for a new deal. Yeah, they got the deal done, but his usage is kind of weird. And specifically games with negative game scripts, he really doesn't see a high volume of rushing work and rushing attempts. They actually sneak Ty Johnson on the field more often than not. So I think that the Bills are walking into a bit of a buzzsaw in week 1 against the Ravens. I think the Ravens have revenge on their mind and how things ended last year against Buffalo. I think they have the better roster from top to bottom. I actually have questions about Buffalo's defense as a whole. And if I have questions about your defense when going up against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, I know I love Josh Allen and I respect the Bills, but I think it's a bad matchup for them in week 1.
So Kyle wants to know, because he would be starting 2 of these. It's a double flex. So he's either going to go Shakir and Coleman, double dip on the stack. So it's actually 3 stacked considering he has Allen. Or would he be adding in Jacoby Myers or Ollie Gordon? I agree with you that Myers, I'm not even sure if he's going to be seeing many reps considering he's seeking a trade. So could you edge in Ollie Gordon there over Coleman?
I actually like the fact that Allen could be facing a negative game script, even though I do have separation and matchup concerns for Coleman. In this case, if I think Allen's going to have to throw the ball to try to keep the Ravens in it, or the Bills in it, then yeah, I'll actually go with the triple stack in this scenario, just because we don't know what we're going to get from Gordon and the Miami offense as a whole. Sure. I at least know that Josh Allen is the reigning MVP and the man can put the offense on his shoulders, and he's going to have to throw the ball to somebody. So I'll go with the triple stack in this rare circumstance where I just don't know what to expect from your other 2 options.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're welcome, Kyle. He says, thanks for the feedback. Of course, we're here to help. This one from Iraq, he says, the Raiders don't seem inclined to move Jacoby, at least for now. He's been practicing this week, not holding out or in. Yeah, not holding out necessarily, but I mean, anytime a player comes out and says that they're looking for a trade, are they going to be excited about bringing him onto the field? I don't know. I just feel like I do like the game script that you just outlined in terms of the potential high volume for Allen to be throwing a lot more to those 2 wide receivers, just a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, and not to mention when you're talking about the New England Patriots defense, I mean, I want to check and make sure that I think Christian Gonzalez is dealing with some sort of injury, if I'm not mistaken. I'm actually just getting a quick peek at him right now. So yeah, he is questionable with a hamstring injury and he's trying to practice this week. If Gonzalez plays, that's not a good thing for Jacoby Myers. So even if Myers takes the field. So I'll still go with the triple stack in this circumstance.
Doubling down. Okay. We've talked a little bit about my Steelers. We answered a couple questions. Tate, we've got to talk about your Buccaneers. I'm glad that you dressed for the occasion.
Yeah, well, I mean, my dad gave me the shirt when I recently went to Florida, and he is a bit more muscular than myself. So it's a little bit big. It's, raise the flag. It looks like I'm wearing a flag right now, but I digress. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Atlanta Falcons at Atlanta. The prop bets that I like, I'm actually taking the under on Bijan Robinson, 78.5 rushing yards.
Really?
So, yeah, I mean, they lost Gary, their starting right tackle. The swing tackle is also hurt. So I think that the offensive line, who lost their starting center this offseason as well to free agency, I kind of feel like I'm worried about his efficiency on the ground. The volume will be there. But also in the 2 matchups against the Buccaneers last year, I think it was 61 and 63 yards rushing. And the Bucs are traditionally good against opposing rushing attacks. So even though Bijan is outstanding, a compromise / retooled offensive line that I don't think got better this past offseason against a Buccaneers defense that is traditionally good against opposing rushing attacks. And I think they're going to be able to put up points against the Atlanta Falcons, potentially creating a negative game script for Bijan Robinson. Just think there's a lot of paths to him not hitting that 78-yard mark in week number 1.
I don't love that. I have a lot of Bijan Robinson. But
no, I know no one wants to hear that.
I don't want to hear that. Don't tell me that. Lie to me again. This is week 1. I'm trying to be excited about the team that I just put together. But I hear you. I get the reasons why, but this is also why I liked Bijan because, he's amazing in the passing game as well as the rushing game. So just going to try and stay positive despite everything you just said.
Can I be positive then?
Yes, please be positive. Can you give me some parlay plays, some over-unders that you like specifically in this matchup so I can maybe be a bit more excited?
All right. Do you have any Bucky Irving?
I do.
Okay. Well, then here's one for you.
Yeah.
With Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, and Kate Otten all out for week number 1, Emeka Egbuka is in his first NFL start. So give me Bucky Irving on either 3.5 receptions or over 20 yards receiving. Both of them either get over 1.85 times your bet. I think the 3.5 receptions is like 2.23. Parlay plays, like that is one that I like because the Atlanta Falcons, Sam, in 2024 gave up 97 receptions to opposing running backs. Where did that rank? Dead last.
Dead last. I was gonna be like, math. Last one.
Yeah. I mean, you had a 1 in 32 chance, but it was dead last. They gave up more receptions to opposing running backs than any other team in the league. This to me, and I see an expanded role in the passing game for Bucky Irving. So all of those things with the depleted options, higher scoring, faster paced game. Vegas has this as the second highest line at 48.5 points. Just think it's all lining up for Bucky Irving. Even if he's not getting, 22 carries, I think they get him up around 20 total touches, which means he's going to have a role in the passing game in week number 1.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, it's quite a depth of talent to be missing in week 1. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything shakes out. I have a decent amount of Emeka Egbuka as well. So in terms of me wanting to see him skyrocket, I can't wait to see what these targets look like.
His line is high at like 57.5 yards receiving, like in week number 1. I don't think it's too high at all. No, I think that he probably will go right around 65 to 70 yards. This is not a great Falcons secondary by any stretch. I don't know if they're going to be able to get home, even with no Tristan Wirfs at left tackle. I know that they drafted the 2 edge rushers. I mean, Jalen Walker's kind of a hybrid, but they're rookies, and Walker's kind of a tweener. So we'll see how they perform in their first NFL game at a position that's traditionally a little bit tough to succeed at the NFL level. It normally takes edge rushers a little bit of time to kind of hit their stride in the NFL. So I'm betting the Buccaneers are probably going to have a nice week 1 offensive performance, even without some of the names we already mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I do like them to get the win this week. I'm still going to hope my Steelers get the win because I need them to, but that's just me trying to be positive. We do have a couple questions in the chat I want to make sure we get to before we sign off for week 1. There's going to be plenty more to cover going into next week. We will, of course, be covering waiver wire, but then we'll be, dissecting who you guys want to start at your flex going into Thursday Night Football and breaking down that game as well as games of the week. So make sure you tune in next week and we'll be, of course, covering waiver wire as well. But let's get to this one from Jim Lord. D Monty or Trey Henderson and Olave or Garrett Wilson. So we just have to pick our favorites between these for the start this week.
So I'm going to go Trey Henderson against David Montgomery. And we do have one more segment that maybe I'm going to talk a little bit more about Henderson. Wink.
Sure.
Wink,
okay.
Wink, wink. And then give me Olave. I know this sounds insane. Because Spencer Rattler is starting at quarterback.
I'm gonna have to hear a really good argument for this.
But I actually think with the addition of Kelvin Banks up front, the offensive line is not going to be all that terrible there in New Orleans. I trust Kellen Moore as a play caller, Sam. I do.
Okay.
Chris Olave going against the young Arizona Cardinals secondary is something I like more than Garrett Wilson. And all of a sudden, the Steelers have a really nice cornerback room with Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, and Joey Porter Jr. And this could be a low-scoring game. I'm going to go with Olave. I just like the potential for him to be able, and their offense to be able to generate more production and just first downs and staying on the field than the New York Jets against the stingy Steelers defense.
I mean, of course, I'm not going to be mad at any compliments you paid on my Steelers. So that's one thing. But that being said, I mean, right now, looking at Fantasy Life projections, Garrett Wilson is projected to have in PPR 12.4 fantasy points to Chris Olave's scrolling down 11.1. It's not a huge point difference, 12 to 11 with, you know, some decimals there in between. I mean, I guess I understand it in terms of wanting to shoot for the upside going into week one. If you're someone likes to tinker, maybe. I think for myself, I'm a little bit too nervous to be so bullish, but so I would stick with Wilson, but I do like your argument for Olave, and I do agree going Henderson as well in terms of RB1. Really excited to see what he does with this offense there.
Yeah, I very, very, very bullish on Henderson in week number 1.
Absolutely. And then we've got this one, and then we'll get to your surprise, piece. You're so excited and you gave me no notes. I want everyone to know that I have no notes going into whatever the hell Tate is talking about next. So very excited to be put on the spot. But this one from Trone, would you trade CMC, Hollywood, and Goddard to receive Chuba Hubbard, McBride, and Diggs, or Myers PPR? I want to say no. McBride is great, but I don't know. With so few healthy players for the Niners as well, CMC is going to have to perform early this season and well. I just don't love Goddard on that other side of the trade, though. Like, that really hinders it for me.
It's hard because I think the best player in this trade is CMC. So you're giving away the best piece.
Ask
right?
for more.
Yeah, and you're taking, nickels on the dime in some sense, but Trey McBride's a pretty darn good piece to get back. And I do think he's a significant upgrade over Goddard. Chuba, it depends if you're deep at running back and you're okay with Hubbard being your running back 3. Okay, but I probably wouldn't do it. But it also, Goddard's dinged up and may not even play this week. So it's closer than I thought when I first looked at it.
Yeah. Close, but it's still week 1 and I'm still too nervous. You could pick up a tight end off waivers that I think is going to get you a start and be decent rather than have to sell the farm just for McBride. Because to me, that's where I'm looking at the weight between these trades. It's CMC versus McBride with a couple other parts and pieces. If someone really wants CMC from you, they'll offer you more flat out, especially after week 1, if they have a panic.
Yeah, I would try to get a little bit more. I agree with you there. If you're giving away CMC, make them pay top dollar.
Make it hurt.
Yeah, make it hurt them permanently.
Yeah.
So we could. And by the way, I did in the show doc. I did say the name of the segment.
E-Rock saying Goddard is playing, but I'm keeping CMC. Yes, you should keep CMC.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Okay,
there we go.
You did tell me what we're talking about. You want to talk about, this is your Tater's parlay of the day. This is not our petty parlays, which I'm still really excited about that being a bit. I can't believe that even got mentioned. It's so perfect. But yes, your Tater's parlay of the day. I want to hear it. You teach me so much about parlays every season, so please tell me.
The Tater parlay of the day. I've been watching too much Sesame Street. So let's count them, though.
It's more Kronk.
We got a
Emperor's New Groove, but okay.
2, 3-leg parlay for week number 1. And I'm going to start it with Broncos rookie running back, RJ Harvey. Oh, no. He was named as the second running back on the depth chart behind J.K. Dobbins. Look, I have him going over 24 yards receiving against the Tennessee Titans. Do we remember once upon a time a rookie running back in a Sean Payton offense caught 4 passes and saw 63% of the snaps in his NFL debut working alongside Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson, who were named co-starters? That was Alvin Kamara.
I was going to say, does it rhyme with Shamara?
Yeah, you're really good at this. Look, the Titans have Cody Barton at linebacker, coverage grade of 56 last season. That was 111th at the position. And then his other starting linebacker or projected starting linebacker is James Williams. He was even worse at a 51.5 coverage grade, according to PFF. That ranked 131st. Look, we can't count that high today, boys and girls, but if the linebacker group is going to clamp Harvey in the passing game in week number 1, that makes me laugh, and I'll save you the count laugh in this situation. So I'm going over on RJ Harvey receiving yards.
Okay.
So another rookie running back, Travion Henderson, over 59 yards. I'm bumping those odds up. His actual line's at like 42 yards. And Sam, hear me out here. Okay. The Las Vegas Raiders, they lost or released Christian Wilkins this offseason after, I don't know, like alleged reports that there was an HR thing and he may have kissed a teammate on the forehead. Either way, whether it was an injury or whether it was something silly, he's not on the team. And that's not good for their interior, their defensive line. Adam Butler and Thomas Booker, who came over from Philadelphia. Look, they were both under a 52 grade in run defense, according to PFF. This offensive line, Sam, for the New England Patriots got a lot better. Love the additions of Garrett Bradbury, Jared Wilson, and of course, Will Campbell over at left tackle. And oh, by the way, Travion Henderson also looked explosive and dynamic when he got his opportunities in the preseason, scoring 2 touchdowns. I actually think that this game has the possibility of the Patriots really putting it on the Las Vegas Raiders.
Really making a show of it is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that Henderson in a positive game script, which is what I could see happening if the Raiders don't get much of anything from the passing game outside of Brock Bowers in week number 1. Yeah, I'm going Henderson. I think he's going to have a big game, even if he only has somewhere between 8 to 13 carries.
I like that. I definitely feel like, again, this is week 1. We've got a lot of teams that have been holding back, in preseason. We also have people playing some games with these depth charts. I feel like at the end of the day, it just feels like a lot of games in terms of trying to zig when everyone else is zagging in terms of who's going to be the big one. So I do like all of those parlays. Do you have
one more to throw on top of it?
I was going to say, do you have a
it was a 3-leg parlay. We counted it at the very beginning.
I'm bad at counting.
I'm kidding. I'm just messing around. So Keenan Allen, though, over 39 yard receiving. Reason why.
You are just pounding the drum.
Last 4 games, Sam, he played with Justin Herbert against the Kansas City Chiefs. He went over 50 yards receiving. The line's at 39. So, I mean, it feels like you're getting a 10-yard discount in what could be a game script that is going to force the Chargers to throw the ball to try to keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs. At least that's what we both expect. We both expect the Chiefs to win. So I expect Herbert to throw the ball. And if he's going to throw the ball, I think Allen's going to be heavily involved in week 1. That's what I got.
I like it. Tate's parlays of the day. I think that's very fun.
We'll see if it sticks or if it turns into petty parlays. We'll see what happens.
I think that we should always start with petty parlays and then we end with the real ones. Let's bring people in with the sassiness and keep them for the wins later.
Sassy hook to start the show.
But yeah, no, I love those, and I'm happy and excited to get your parlay picks going into every week. But let's get one more question before we sign out then. This one from Cap for Life. Somebody is offering me Tyrone Tracy for Evan Ingram. Do I do it or do I stand down?
That's a hell of a way to put it.
I wanted to read that emphatically.
I'm standing. I mean, you got Tyler Warren. If this is the same league, if I remember correctly, if you really have a need at running back, okay. But I would say probably there's a reason you drafted Evan Ingram. I think it's a good reason. I like the pick. So I'd ride it out with Ingram. I don't think Tracy's enough.
It's week 1. I would think stand down, hold strong. We want to see what Ingram looks like going into this week. And yes, you could be capitalizing. They could be capitalizing off of this if you do make the trade. I do like Tracy going into this season as well. But yeah, it really depends on if you're hurting for running back depth right now. But if you're making this trade, are you even going to be starting Tracy week 1? I would imagine that you're not. Yeah, E-Rock jumping in, saying hold. I mean, this is a Braveheart level hold in terms of how we're saying just like, let's calm down, people. I know it's exciting, but Holt.
It's a fun trivia question about our show
is.
that we both once upon a time dressed up as William Wallace for Halloween. There's evidence of it.
There is on the internet.
Yeah, I'm not going to provide you the link. You can go ahead and search it, but
follow me on Instagram at Sam_awesome. I have not deleted a post in a very long time. It's just a lot of, you keep scrolling past all the football stuff. It's just a ton of Halloween. So have fun.
Well, yeah, we're both in lockstep here. Stick with Ingram.
Yeah, just hold tight. Guys, the summary is we are excited for week 1. There's a lot of really great things going into this week. And I just cannot wait to, see what everything looks like. And we get Thursday and Friday night football. Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, I guess this whole thing where they play in Brazil in week number 1 on the Friday is going to stick. So let's see how it goes. Last year, the Super Bowl winner came from that game, though, Sam. So we'll see if it's a trend.
Yeah. Don't need it to be the Chiefs, though. It'd be more fun if it was the Chargers.
I know. Which is like, it makes me almost sad even saying that. I'm like, please don't become a thing where the Chiefs win the damn Super Bowl and then everybody's talking about who's the game going to be in Brazil, who predicts the Super Bowl winner. Like, yeah.
I know. Oh, my God. All right. Well, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. This one from Iraq saying that hopefully the field conditions are better in Brazil.
God,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's all just say the same thing. Let's all hold hands across the internet right now and just say, let's pray for no injuries in week 1. No injuries in week 1. Come on. We got to do it.
At MetLife or in Brazil.
Yeah. No. Amen to that. Tate, tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Derek Tate NFL.
You guys can find me on X at Samantha R. Holt. And like I said, if you want to follow me on Instagram, Sam_awesome, make sure you go and check out fantasylife.com. Plenty of amazing tools over there. I love to make the graphics for them over there. Plenty of fun graphics coming your way going into this season. And thank you so much for tuning into us over on Women of Fantasy Football channel. So appreciate them for having us on. And till next time, we will see you heading into week 2.